guys, if you want to get tips on how to negotiate for your salary, you need to watch out for this video shortly after this break. Dorcas has given me a checklist of 5 tips for negotiating for a salary, and I'll be reading them out and she explains. And the first tip to negotiating for your salary is researching your career. So Dorcas, you can tell us more about that?
Yeah, so thank you very much. When you come to negotiating your salary, the first thing is you need to do is research on your career. And this comes to do with, you have to check what is the people in the job market, people at that level. So for instance, if it's a marketing executive or sales executive or accounts assistant, what is the range of salary that accounts assistant earn in the market? And it's not only in the job itself, the title, but you must also check the company. So for instance, if you are comparing Barclays Bank, you want to compare it with banks of the same level of caliber. You know? So look at others, like is it Citibank, is it CBA Bank? So you can't compare an account assistant in microfinance with a bank, with a big bank, an international bank. So what I mean is the company should be at the same level. So if it's an SME, compare with SME salary. If it's an international bank, compare it, or multinational, compare it with another multinational. That's the difference. So you need to research the role, the range which they are paying, and at the bank, sorry, not at the bank, but at the company level, within companies of the same, say, equal sort of, let's say, companies that have the same sort of performance, either financially, or they are the same range, they are all multinationals. You just compare the salaries that they give, and then you will know, you'll have an idea. But if this is the amount, then if Barclays is paying this, then CBA Bank or Citibank could be paying the same
range.
Yes.
Great. And the second tip that you need to consider when you're negotiating for a salary is knowing your worth. How do you quantify your worth?
So quantifying your worth, about knowing your worth, you have to first know what is your skills. I think that is quite a huge task to do, because a lot of us don't know how to quantify what it is that we are worth. And even companies use consultants to help them define how much should we pay our CEO, how much should we pay our mid-level managers, our junior managers, junior people, all that they consult. Because one of the things you need to look at when you're looking at your worth is your skills. What skills do you have? Are they skills that are unique in the market, or they are not unique? Then you look at your education. Of course, you've invested. You've invested in your education. So you've invested in your degree, in your diploma, in your master's, your PhD, whichever. So all that is an investment. You need to quantify it in your salary. You need to look at also your previous experiences. What experience are you bringing on the table? No? So experience with international environment, you know, international business environment versus the local business environment. Those two are very different. So all those bring up your worth. It shows how much are you worth.
So that's your opportunity to brag.
Yes.
Brag about your achievement.
It's an opportunity to justify your skills, your experiences, and what you can offer, and why they should pay you. Yes. Remember, it must be tied to what you're offering, your experience, what you're offering based on that experience, and why now they should pay you.
Which brings us to the next checklist, and that's on emphasizing on your skills.
You know what companies and what companies pay. Some of us have an advantage of getting an insider to tell us the job is paying this. So you don't really have a lot of work. But then, if you don't know at all, then you have no idea. You just take your salary, increase between 30 to 50%.
30 30 to 50%.
Yes,
Yes.
because most employers will add your salary up to that point, 30 to 50%, mostly. There are others who will add more, more than 50%, but in most cases it's usually 30 to 50%, if at all you don't get any information on salary. Now, however, so these skills, when you mention your range, my range is between 200 or 500 or 1 million to this, whichever, then you just mention, you just justify it with the skills. I am bringing these skills on table. I can be able to deliver you this. I have seen a friend who is a relationship manager in a bank, and for him, he pegs his salary on what he's bringing, and he will promise you, I will bring you 500 million in 3 months. You pay me 600,000, and he will be given. Give you the chance, you bring, you pay. It's a deal. So sometimes it's how you look at what role are you negotiating for. Is it a role that is pegged on income, on revenue for the company? Then you can negotiate and say, my past experience has been this. Now, if you pay me this, I'll bring you this. And they will evaluate, of course. There is probation period. Yes.
Which now brings us to the next point, where you mention don't go overboard. So how did you maintain that balance between, yes, I'm worth this much? If we can use the example of your friend, he knows his worth, he knows what he's good at. But how do you check that you don't go overboard still?
So about going overboard is sometimes you ask for too much. No? So don't go, like, if you know the when you're researching the market, of course you will know, like, maybe if it's an entry level position, I don't expect you to come and ask me for 100,000 and you are coming for an entry level position, you know. So if you ask me for that, then I'll look like you've really gone overboard or you've pushed too much. Some employers will tell you, well, we like you, you have good skills, we have this, but we are willing to give you, say, 15%, increase your salary by 15%. But you're feeling you want maybe 50%. No, it needs to be a reasonable amount. If they say we'll increase it by 15, if you don't agree, give them a counter offer. Okay, 25% or 30%. Then they will give you, the counter offers needs to be reasonable. They don't need to be so wide apart that they feel like, no, we can't afford this person. Yes. Or they afford you for a short term, and then they're like, we can't afford this person anymore, so they let you go.
Which now takes us to the last tip on how to negotiate for a salary, and that's on being flexible.
Now, when it comes to being flexible, also, again, there's something called when the employer gives you or mentions the amount, it's always advisable, let the amount or let the salary question come from the employer, not from you. So if they ask you, first, you can just apply some, I don't know whether to call it reverse psychology, but yeah, sometimes you apply some psychology in it. And so they tell you, so if they ask you how much you're expecting, then you tell them, you can ask them back the question and ask them, how much are you paying? And some will tell you we are paying, say, 80,000, 50 or 100 or whichever amount. So once they mention the amount, you can just repeat that amount. So 100,000, and then you just keep quiet and give that face contact, like you have gotten a surprise. So if someone tells you, okay, the position is paying 100,000, so 100,000.
Are you crazy?
No, you don't look at them, but you just give them a face, maintain the face
facial
contact.
expression.
Yes, the face contact, you maintain it. Look surprised, but repeat that money, that amount, 100,000.
And then they say yes, and then what do you say after that?
You just mention the amount and look at them. Look at that person. So first they will feel sort of, ideally we normally feel intimidated somehow. And you feel like, oh, it's too little, you know. And now they will say it's negotiable, it's what, you know, what are you thinking?
Now employers
It's
will be
open
happy with you. You've let the secret out.
It is called an eco strategy. I have an article on that also.
Nice.
Yeah, it's called the eco strategy. So sometimes you use it. It works in many ways, but you must have practiced. Because to some people it doesn't come out very naturally. It has to come natural. Yes.
So what usually happens like when I give that impression and I keep quiet? Do they do
They
a
will
counter-offer?
they'll give you a chance now to speak and say, either they'll tell you, what do you think? Is it too low? Or they'll come up.
So they provide the room now to negotiate.
Yes.
Wow. That's something interesting.
But you also have to be flexible with employers. That was the last tip. And about being flexible, it's just basically looking at how is it that there are some employers who will see you're very competent. Maybe they add you, say 10%, but then they tell you, if you achieve, you look at the position and look at maybe where I'm coming from. You could be having challenges there and you really want to go. So with this 10%, you accept it, but tell them, in these 3 months, I'm delivering this. Then from then, you'll add me 10%. If you wanted a 30% increase and they have given you 20%. So tell them in 6 months after probation or 3 months after probation, if I prove myself, you are adding me the other 20% or the other 10%. And this one has to be written down in the contract if you make such an agreement. So flexibility sometimes comes in such things, because for some employers they could be going through a hard time, difficult businesses are not making money, and they want you very much, but they can't afford your salaries at that time. And some also want to see, can you really deliver?
Yes.
So they will be open. So some of those are the negotiations things that you ask for.
And maybe Dorcas, as we conclude, you can give us okay. Just let's hold on. Let me do a recap, and then I'll ask you the questions, and then you will close the session for us with your feedback. And so, guys, the first checklist you need to look at when you're negotiating for a salary is doing your research on your career to see what are the salary ranges in your field of work. And the second one is knowing your worth, how much you worth, how much value you're bringing in. The other one is emphasizing on your skills, and the fourth one is not going overboard, and the last one is on being flexible. And so as we conclude, I would like just to find out, how do we encourage women especially to negotiate, because we are often told that we are the ones who settle for less actually. So what is your call to action for women as far as scaling the corporate ladder is concerned?
For women, I would just challenge them to be open to going for promotions. Promotions come with their own challenges. You have to know the expectations or the demands of that job. Because a lot of us women, sometimes you find, I have a family, my family come first and all that, and if the job is very demanding, some women will not go for it. So you have to challenge yourself that I can do this role, I want it, and I can deliver, because you also have to believe in yourself. Because a lot of ladies, women out there in the corporate, they don't believe in themselves. They believe it's only a man who can lead, So, but some of these roles, women are doing very well. So, it's a challenge for women to go for those roles. And when you get there, negotiate. Ask for money you feel that you are worth. You said you evaluate what you're worth.
Yes.
So, ask for that money. Research. Because men are very good at negotiating. They are very, very good. They will ask. So, if you are looking to earn 300,000, please don't go to ask for 100,000. It will come down. 250 or 280. So go for 350. Then negotiate. So women, you don't have to fear the numbers. It's okay to earn a 6-figure salary as a woman.
I love that.
If you are a woman there listening to me, it's okay to earn 600. It's okay to earn a 6-figure salary. It's okay to earn more, even if it's more than your husband. It's okay. Yes.
Yeah.
So don't fear. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, ladies. I hope you listened to that. And so, guys, if you love this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have tips or feedback regarding the video, also comment in the description box. And also don't forget to subscribe. Yes, now. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.